Joining me now to talk more about the situation in Argentina and how the president's operation could affect the political landscape is Peter Hakim of the Inter-American Dialogue. And Peter, what's your take on this? You know, this close to the election, how can it influence things? I imagine there's the sympathy vote, but then also things could go in the other direction.
Well, let me say that her popularity was pretty low by this time. She lost in the primary elections. The outlook in the upcoming election didn't look very good. She may generate some sympathy, being sick, particularly the seriousness of what's affecting her. On the other hand, you know, when Peronists begin to slip in the polls and they lose an election like they lost the primary, they also become less relevant. And it's possible also that she's just going to fade into the background now as other candidates, the guy that's going to run for president of the Peronists are going to begin to migrate toward him, who's the other candidate, the person that would oppose her is the likely presidential candidate. And so she may be slipping. She may regain a little bit of support. The best guess is this is not going to have a big impact. She wasn't that popular to begin with. People were beginning to lose interest, and she was beginning to lose relevance. And so my guess is that we're going to see the opposition, the Peronist opposition, win this election and begin to make it governing more difficult for the executive branch.
This is not her first health scare, as we recall. I guess there was thyroid cancer where the vice president had to pinch hit during that period as well. But at that time, her popularity was much higher, correct?
Oh, far higher. And in other words, she was down around 30%, which is almost the floor for any sort of ruling Peronist, frankly. I mean, it's very hard to get far below that. And she had reached it, and it didn't look, and her candidates weren't winning in the primaries. And she certainly was not going to be able to be a candidate in the next presidential election, which would have required a change in the Constitution. So my guess is that the era of Kirchner and Fernandez is slipping away, and we're going to have sort of a change in direction.
Talk to me about that. What type of direction do you see with Argentina moving forward?
Well, my guess is that we're going to see a more orthodox economic policies. We're going to see a shift away from this sort of Argentine, special Argentine that we found the way. And, you know, there's an old story about there's three kinds of economies in the world: developed, underdeveloped, and the Argentine economy. That simply they continue to have surges and sharp drops in economic performance. And right now, Argentina, I think, is on the verge of another sharp drop. Everything is looking rather grim for the Argentine economy at this point, except they're exporting a lot of grains to China. And but beyond that, inflation is increasing. There's strict controls on currency exchanges. Black market currency is twice the official rate.
When you look to Latin America, there's a lot of dynamic leaders who tend to suck all the oxygen out of the room. She's one of them. Who do you see on the landscape there in Argentina who might be able to move up?
Well, the best guess is a fellow who's now a mayor in the province of Buenos Aires, who's just won the Peronist primary, her party's primary, to be a senator. And it looks like he is probably the candidate who has the most electoral underpinning, and will probably, you know, he's ambitious. He wants to be president. He's the most likely candidate right now of the Peronists, and the Peronists have a way of winning. They have a way of discarding those people who are going to lose an election and latching on to the next person who can win one.
Peter Hakim, thank you so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.